Hey everybody, welcome back to Rouse Craft. So today we're going to try to get an Easter basket together. Just going to make a small Easter basket, put some rolled flowers in there, and give it as a gift. So the basket itself, I'm getting the file from XCS. I'll cut that on the D1 Pro using 3mm basswood, and then we're going to take a crack at rolled flowers. Haven't done them before. So why not now? So we'll hop over to the Cricut machine, get those cut out, and hopefully those are a success. But let's go ahead and get started. So like I said, we're going to be using 3mm basswood. So we'll cut our basket out of that. And then I'm just going to use these dowels as stems for our flowers that will stick in the basket. So let's go ahead and get started with cutting out the basket, and then we'll go from there. All right, let's go ahead and get our wood tossed in here. And we'll start with our normal maintenance, get our distance. All right, and now let's just mark out our working area. Okay, so let's see what all we can fit on here. We'll start by ungrouping. Trying to just grab this here. I'll hold down Shift to deselect that. See if that did it. There we go. All right, so I just want to turn this one sideways. Just trying to get as much real estate out of this piece of wood as possible. See if we can't squeeze another one on here. All right, that looks like everything will probably get on there. So we are just going to click here where it says version so we can open up an additional we'll just name this one 3mm part 2. And let's get all these stragglers. We'll move them here. So I think I just want to add like some text and maybe a bunny here. So let's text. See if I have a little bunny. Yeah, that one should work. Let's drag that in. Okay, we got that as engrave, that as engrave. Let's change this to basswood. Okay, let's go ahead and get started cutting this first piece. Okay, so while that's cutting, I'm just going to take our dowels here. We're going to get those cut. I'm probably going to go about 3 inches for those. So it's 76.2 millimeters. And this doesn't have to be precise. I'll just take a pair of diagonal cutters and had a lively one there. Okay, while that's going, I'm just going to go ahead and get our second one set up. So we'll just kind of start laying these out. All right, I think that will maximize the amount of stuff that we have. So, okay, so we've got our first couple pieces cut here. I'm just going to see if I have enough on this scrap piece of wood to fit everything in versus using a whole new sheet. All right, so let's go ahead and go to our second page. We'll mark this area. All right, let's mark our area and see if we can't get it all to fit on this scrap wood. All right, looks like we'll be good to go with this piece. Okay, so while the second part is cutting, I'm going to go ahead and just start gluing what I do have on. So I'm just taking and applying a little bit of this glass glue, dropping it in place. And that will kind of just hold it there until I get all the pieces together, then I'll glue along the seams. Okay, so we got all our pieces of wood cut. We'll just kind of dry fit them all in place here. This is much easier said than done. As I fix one, the next one falls out. All right, I think I'll continue with my thought process of dropping a little bit of glue on one side, just kind of help hold them in place. All right, now I'm just going to run some glue in along these seams. Okay, we're going to let that do its thing. We'll hop inside and try to get these rolled flowers done, and then we'll see what happens when it all comes together. Be right back. Okay, so now we're inside. We're going to go ahead and try to get these flowers cut on the Cricut Maker 3. While I'm getting ready, I'm going to go ahead and plug in our hot glue gun here. Okay, let's hop in a Cricut. So I actually found a whole set of flowers on Cricut Design Space here. So I'm going to change this to on mat. I'm going to do 2 of each so that way I have a dozen. Click apply. All right, so let me go ahead and get some paper ready. Okay, so we should be using a light grip mat. Unfortunately, I only have one, so we're going to go through the process on the first one. And then to save you some sanity, I'll do the rest off camera. Okay, so let's find an orange. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the corner here. Make sure everything's all lined up. Take our little roller. Just make sure it's adhered on there good. get our Cricut open and ready to go. Okay, now hopping back to the computer, just going to hit continue here, wait for it to connect to the machine. Okay, I'm just going to select craft cardstock. I'll do more pressure to be safe. So as you can see, we've come off the paper here. So I'm going to put the next one landscape. Let's go ahead and get these ones off, get the next one ready to go. So I'm sure it'll probably be fine. It'll probably just be a little bit smaller. But I'll keep the scrap orange paper just in case. Okay, I'm just going to toss these off to the side, get our next color going. And then once we have all these spiral cuts, we'll come back together. Okay, so we've got all of our spirals cut out, so this is what will make your flower. So you've got what I call the flat end, and then you have what I call the butt or the base of your flower. So this is called a quilting tool. Basically, it's just a rod with a slice down the middle that will allow you to slide your cardstock down into that quilting tool. So once we get that done, we're just going to start rolling. Try to keep it tight, and then I just try to keep the base in line. So as you see here, as I twist, I'm just trying to keep the base of this in line with the base of the flower that's rolled. Now again, this is my first time rolling flowers. I'm sure as you get more experience, this part will probably go a little bit quicker. Okay, we're going to pop that quilting tool out. Now, while it's out, I'm just going to kind of let it get a little bit loose so I can make sure everything's all evened out here. I'll drop some glue there. Be careful, that is a little bit warm. Press that down for a couple seconds, let that glue take place. And then I'm just going to start spreading open these petals. To give the flower a more open look. Alright, and then that is what your finished roll flower looks like. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these rolled. I'll kind of show you how the different shapes on the spirals will create a different type of flower. I'll see if I can't find a cheat sheet of what a cut design looks like when it's rolled. If I can find it, I'll drop it down below. But yep, let me roll the rest of these. Okay, so as we see, we have our flowers cut. I've lost a green flower somewhere, but we'll figure it out. So for me, really the learning curve is how tight or how loose you're going to wrap these things. I'd love to give you an answer, but I still don't know. It's going to be trial and error, and each one was different also. Okay, so next thing I want to do is I'm just going to take these dowels throw a drop of glue on them. And adhere the flower to them. Now I'm just going to stick them in here so they can dry. This is just the same old stuff you would use if you were doing a flower arrangement. So I'm just going to continue to make these, and then we'll hop back together and put everything together for the final piece. All right, we got all of our flowers made. Our basket should be good and dry now. Take these off. All right, so there is our basket. Here is our flowers. So next thing I'm going to want to do is just cut this down so it will fit in there. Go ahead and pop our flowers out of there now that it's dry. Okay, so I'm just going to measure the base here and take a little bit off of it. So our base is about 100 by 150. So I'm just making a little indentation there at about the 140 mark. Okay, I'm just going to, I'll just try this with an X-Acto knife or a razor blade. We'll see how that works. Hopefully I can just get deep enough and snap it in half. Okay, let's just check the fit real quick. Okay, the fit is fine, but I think I'm going to take this in half. Alright, that works. Okay, next I'm going to just drop this down in the bottom so my flowers have a place to stick. Like that with all that empty space. So it is around Easter, so I could just go get some of the Easter grass that you would stick in an Easter basket, but it's storming out and I don't feel like going to the store. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my shredder and I'll just run some of this green cardstock and make some grass out of that. Just go ahead and lay these flowers out. Actually, what I'll do is I think I'll try to load them more towards the front here. Just try to get some varying lengths, colors. Okay, so now we got all those flowers in there. Now I'll just fill it in with the scraps from the shredder. Okay, so that's what our basket looks like. And then of course you could paint this, stain it, do whatever you want. I'm just going to leave it like that, and then just put a couple little treats in there, and a nice little ready-made Easter basket for the season. Like I said, for me, the big learning curve was how tight you're going to roll them, and it differed from the type of flower that you were rolling. So it's just going to take some time and some repetitions to get over it. But other than that, pretty straightforward and pretty simple project. I would recommend for beginners like myself. But if you have any questions about the project itself, please feel free to reach out down below, and I'll answer any of those questions to the best of my ability. Also look at linking all of the files that I used. I won't put the actual files in there because there's somebody else's files that I paid for, and it wouldn't be right to give those out, but I will put the links for the files that I used. Other than that, we'll see you next time. Bye.